to our In the Zone fanatics. What a great year 25 was. Really excited about 2026. I want to show everybody my new t-shirt. Pete, I'm going to try and turn around, show everybody.
Coach is in the zone.
We're in the zone, baby. We got merch. Now, you know we've hit the big time, Pete. We've got merch. I wanted to thank my ladies at home for that. A very thoughtful Christmas gift. And we got more coming, too. So we're going to have one for Pete, obviously. Pete and I will be twinning in the studio. But also, we're going to give a few away. You know, we get some good questions, or we have a couple of, maybe we'll do a little bit of a prize or something like that we can try. You know, maybe a contest.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right.
And we'll go from there.
Internet poll.
Something. We'll try it.
All
It'll give us some room. Pete, I want to jump right off with our dog bone. All right, just so that I don't forget. Dog bone this week, we got to go, Pete. You're going to love this. Kawhi Leonard is back. And boy, is he back. The Clippers were flat on their back. Lost 16 out of 18. They look like the Pistons of 2 years ago, losing every game, disgruntled people, disgruntled fans. The social media stuff is blowing up, and then out of the smoke comes Kawhi. Listen to these numbers, Pete. 45 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. That's in Game 3. 33 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That was in Game 2. First game back, 55 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. Unbelievable. He's averaging 44.3 on his way back. And, man, you have to sit here as a basketball person and sit there and go, with this guy, another Penny Hardaway situation, what if? What if he was able to remain healthy? He would be considered, to me, I would consider him to be one of the greats of all time. You know, I would think he would be considered in that echelon. Just unbelievable. We're going to go to Ryan Conwell from Louisville in our NCAA dog bone. Conwell's been lighting it up, and he's the reason that they brought him in from Xavier. He's, you know, a three-baller. Took 16 shots. 13 of them were threes, 6 of 13. He had 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Off to a really good start for Louisville, and we're going to go. All right, Pete's Corner is going to be a little bit different for you today, folks, because Pete and I agreed beforehand. Well, I'm going to take one question from Pete, and then we're going to kind of map this thing out and do the best we can with it right now, because this is what everybody's really talking about. What is going on? Pete, what's it?
Coach, it is January 2nd we were taping this, right?
Yep.
How in the hell did we get here?
It's a great question. Awesome question.
It's not loaded or anything.
This is the only time, I'm going to be honest, we have full disclosure on this In the Zone show. This is the only time I've ever gotten into it with Pete about a question. I said to him when I walked in today, I said, I want you to tilt me one way here, all right, because this is what everybody's talking about. And I guess what brought it all to a head.
We've been talking about it for a while.
We have been, but right now it's kind of escalating to a point of absolute, because there's no way to control this thing right now. It's a Leviathan. It's an absolute out-of-control monster right now, and there's no way to control it. They didn't realize what was going to happen. Pete mentioned Pandora early on in the show. And
I'm not talking about the bracelet.
And what happened when that box got open, man? And the one thing that was left in Pandora's box was hope. And I don't know, the way that people are sounding on social media, I don't know that even hope got left in this box. But let's lay it out. You know, let's lay it out. I'm going to give it to you as best I can. I started in this business in 1979, 1980. I was a JV basketball coach. So we were on the other side of the fence from the college guys. I had always dreamed and aspired to join the college coaching ranks. All right? One of the reasons I'm a D3 coach is for what I'm about to tell you. Okay? So there's all of this stuff. You could count it as a stew almost, because there's so many things that are in it. There's carrots, potatoes, beef, stew meat. All of this stuff is in this kind of what everybody's referring to now as a toxic brew of the NCAA basketball world. Okay? This is how we got here. I'm going to lay it out for you as best I can since 1980, because that's when I entered in. All right. But now the culmination of this, I would say you could capsulate it in one name, and it's James Nagy. And James Nagy was on our draft board in 2023, drafted in the zone in 2023, and now will enroll at Baylor mid-semester as a freshman with 4 years of eligibility remaining. He was in Europe playing pro ball. There's been pros coming from Europe all the time, and now somebody tell me what's going to stop it from the NBA coming back this way as well. As long as the money's right, as long as the dollars are right, what's going to stop some player from now saying, if you can go in a pro league in Europe and leave and come into the NCAA and be an NCAA player, what's stopping me from doing the exact same thing?
So all these, wait a minute, so all these one and dones that have 3 years of eligibility left.
Oh, yeah. You won't even, by the time they're done with this, it will be unrecognizable to the average person. By the time they're done with this is going to erupt and blow up, because we said this a long time ago. You can't, anything valuable cannot be held in the hands of fearful men.
It's true.
And when you have these coaches who are willing to do anything, and I mean just about anything right now, it's you're left it to some of the worst elements in our game, and this is how we got here.
Well, because the guys holding the bag are saying either win or you're out.
No doubt.
That's going to force people that would not normally make a decision to make a decision.
That's been a constant. Whether NIL or not, that's been a constant. These guys got paid a lot of money. Ed Orgeron had it best. He said, I used to go in the back door. Now I go in the front door.
That's what I'm saying. It's all out front now, though.
It's up front now, and so it's different. But these are the same guys that were in the back. What brought it to the height of hypocrisy from me was to hear John Calipari, none other than John Calipari, saying that this is crazy. Well, John, you're the reason we got here.
Seems to me you did a little funny business at
You're
UMass.
the reason that we're here, John.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that you're the guy that we want as our spokesperson right now.
Well, but on the flip side,
he's making sense.
Yeah, when he says it's bad, then it's really bad.
I think you can use that as a barometer.
Right.
That you've hit absolute rock bottom when Calipari says there are no rules.
Yeah.
So
he's right.
It's the game of basketball. We all love it. We grew up with it as kids. We played it. Now coach it. Sometimes, in the TV spectrum or the media spectrum here, because that's how much we do love the game. What happened with the game was the game got married to money. Pete has his little button there that we push all the time, and it just rains dollars out of the sky. So when the game got absolutely tethered to money, that's when things started to go bad. Let me give it to you in a big profile, okay? What is good for an individual isn't always good for all of us. And that's what happened with these coaches. They were the guys who said, I need that 6'10 kid, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to go get him. That's pretty much, for me, where it started. What was the mechanism of what does it mean to say we're going to do whatever it takes? That's evolved and changed all the way up to where you are right now in NIL. Okay? So there's the piece that Pete just alluded to, and it's salient and it's valid, is the pressure that goes with these jobs. The boosters, all of the people that sit in the stands, everybody wants a winner. Everybody wants to come in first. And now it appears that they don't really care how they get to first, as long as they get there. That's where we're at, where this thing got real scary.
Well, here's the thing. It's the game of basketball has been replaced by the business of basketball.
Absolutely. It's a pro league.
Yeah.
You've said this. You've said it numerous times. What's the difference now?
And
it's a pro league.
And here's the thing. I'm a casual observer, right? And I'm not nearly as far into it as you are. As a casual observer, I see it. So if I see it, everybody else sees it.
For 3 years, you've been knee deep in this stuff with me.
Yeah.
You've been right here because this is really when it's all just caught fire.
Yeah.
Is when we started the show, really. And it's kind of the reason the show started, honestly. All right. So now, what's the next piece? The next piece, I alluded to it a little bit, is what I referred to, and this is all in a book called The Bronx Basketball Tale by Danny Monahan. You can get it on Amazon. But now you have the Armani Mafia. Okay. Those are the guys who came in with the really slick suits and the super gel number 4 in their hair where not one hair was out of place. Werewolves of London, I refer to them as, because their hair was perfect.
Why do you keep describing Calipari?
He became the model, and then everybody started to dress like him and Patino. In the business.
Yeah.
I told you, there's no geniuses in our business. There's just a bunch of dudes who run around and mimic other people. All right. So now you get the whole piece of when you're into the Armani Mafia, their whole thing is, I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. It's real.
It's true, yeah.
It's real.
You can't
okay, so
debate that.
they're not going to get me before I get them. So why would you follow the rules? Because for following the rules, they're going to fire you. For following the rules, you won't win enough games to satisfy that behemoth that sits behind you every single game. Why wouldn't you cheat? Wasn't really that the educated choice in this whole thing? If you really, really go back on it and look at who these guys are, where they came from, what they've done, and then to say we're going to load them up with millions of dollars, what do you think they would do to stay there?
Yeah. That's true.
Everything. Okay, now you take an aggregate of all the violations that occurred, let's call it since 79, 80. That year, you take it and count it forward, a bunch of years forward, 45 years forward. Okay, what percentage of all of that aggregate do you think the NCAA got their fingers on, Pete?
Oh, all of it.
No.
What do you mean? Oh, how much they
There
caught?
was all this cheating.
Yeah, how much they
100%
caught?
of the cheating, what percentage do you think they caught?
Maybe 5.
That's exactly the number I wrote down. and I would say that
How much did they know about? 50.
They had 3 investigators back in the day when I started. Total. 3 investigators for the whole thing. So when somebody else was lighting up a fire and they went to put out that fire, 10 other fires broke out because they didn't have the personnel and the wherewithal to actually really go after the people that were doing it. Hence, it just became in the fabric. It just became commonplace. It just became real. And they were very selective. And Tarkanian alluded to this. He said, the NCAA got so mad at Kentucky, they put Cleveland State on probation. So it's, that's the way it became in the fabric. So then it became, okay, we got to protect this thing. This is our game. This is our market now. We got to protect this thing. We got to do whatever it takes to make sure this thing stays on the rails. That's where you are right now. Okay, now you got to throw in all of these other pieces. No person or persons more responsible for where we are right now than college administrators, inclusive of college presidents, because the Knight Commission had this whole thing handed over to the college presidents, and they would make determinations about everything that went on in sports. Made a little sense, except presidents don't usually know nothing about athletics.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
And so you got all these other people around them, but the administrators and the presidents are the ones who were in control of this thing. The Knight Commission gave them that control. So if you want to know how all of this stuff just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, it's because the college presidents never one time put their hands up. Not one time. Now, let's throw in all of the other stuff that this beast, is in a parasitic environment also, because this beast now has all of these parasites that live off of it. Television, media, print, social media, airline companies, hotels, telephone companies, every single thing that's tied to this thing right now is in on it. They're in on it 100%.
It's insane.
So now you throw in human beings, such as referees, and you have a situation there where they're human too. We've seen the human side of that. We've caught them in the web. They got caught in the net. We saw what happened. They tried to brush it, move it, get rid of it, but it was in the net. It was in the net. You know, now you throw in boosters. The boosters used to be in the background. Now they're more in the foreground, and now they're more powerful than ever because you only got a few guys that got that kind of dough that they can really throw around. So the influence, the oligarchic structure that exists on these campuses, the president's not even in control anymore. The boosters are. The boosters tell them to fire the coach. The boosters tell them who to hire the next time. Presidents don't know nothing about this. They get pushed around by the money guys on the outside really, really easily. Moved around, okay? Then you got the whole lower level of this where the high school coaches, especially back in the day, right around that time, they started to hang the jerseys of all their players in their gym. And what that meant was I got to get my next player to the highest level that I can get him to, whether it's a good fit for him or not, because I want to hang that jersey in my gym so that 7th and 8th grader that's coming in for the tournament looks up and gets blown away by all of the Division I jerseys in our gym.
Yeah, right.
So now you also got guys that used to be doing the right thing for the right reason, for the right kids. Now it's, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for our program. I'm doing it for the collective. We've moved off the individual now and into the collective.
So you're
Sound
saying
familiar?
the business of basketball is extended all the way down to the high school level.
All the way down. Well, let's keep going.
Okay.
AAU, summertime. This thing doesn't turn off 24/7. So now you get into AAU, coaches there, the tension and dynamic between AAU coaches and the high school coaches. That one broke way, way back in the day, you know, with a couple of guys that were Armani Mafia. And back in the day, you couldn't no more go into New York City and get one of the best players in New York City without talking to the high school coach. That was an impossibility. Okay? Somewhere around that time, and I'm going to leave everybody's name out of it, they broke it. They broke it. And they let the AAU coach, who was paying the rent for the family for years, paying for all the sneakers, all the clothing, all the travel, paying for everything in that investment, they aren't going to listen to the high school coach. When it came time to make that decision where to go to school, the AAU coach had all the power. The AAU coach had wrestled all of the power, even away from the guys in New York City who were the most powerful high school coaches in the country. They had the great players. They had the connection to the coaches. And most coaches stood on the line and said, I'm going to be a good guy and go right back to that high school coach. I'm going to deal with that high school coach. But then there was the Armani Mafia, the few, the fearful, the unproud. They came in and said, we're going to do whatever it takes. Better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. We're going to get that big kid no matter what it takes, and we're going to get it done in a way that nobody's going to know about. Half of the stuff that went on all this time, 99.9%. Pete and I were very, very lofty with our 5%. All of this stuff generally went away. Now you come to wiretaps, where the DOJ wanted to go in. That was only about chasing guys out of the business. They think the NIL chased some of these guys out of the business, but those wiretaps chased a whole lot more guys out of the business than the NIL did. Do you really think these guys care that these kids get paid as long as they keep getting $9 million? They don't. They don't. Some of that was ideological. Some of that was political. Who had the ability to call the DOJ and turn them on basketball coaches? Who could do what level do you think that was at?
Right.
So when that all came around, now we say, okay, we got them on wiretaps. We're going to get some assistant coaches. They're going to go to jail, actually. And then when we come out of this, we'll form a commission, and the commission will play right into this lawsuit that's going on in California, and we're going to come out, and then the doors will blow right off. I don't even know. Could you imagine being this devious of a person sitting there and saying, I got this plan. I know it's going to blow the absolute doors off this sport, but I'm going to do it anyway.
That's insane.
Problem is, you had NCAA malfeasance for years pushing people back off the line like a Livy Dunn, who was a volleyball or gymnast player and a volleyball player or a great something who could do money and get money on the side in modeling, in social media, whatever that money might be. They forbid that money for the long time. The reason they forbade that money was because they knew the boosters were right there to get involved. And now what they've prayed for, what they hoped would never, ever, ever happen, has happened. Now you're in a pro league. And I don't think it's going to take long before this thing goes similar to the NBA. I don't see how it goes any other way. Pete, any closing thoughts on that?
I think you're right. We're in the point of insanity right now. And the fact that Calipari's going, waving his arms, going, stop, is just amazing to me because he was the guy that knew how to work the deal in the day. You know, he got UMass as a program, whipped it up into shape, made it a nationally talked about program, and he did it because he was cheating.
And
got caught.
And then got a better job.
Right, and got a better job.
And then got caught again.
Yep.
And then got a better job.
Yep.
So the messaging was clear. We're in on the Armani Mafia.
Yep.
We see the value of the Armani Mafia.
Yep.
And boy, oh boy, did they really reward them because they turned the whole thing over just for a few guys so they could do their thing. And a lot of those guys, to be honest with you, you have to call it like you call it. A lot of them aren't really good basketball coaches. They're not X's and O guys. They're just recruiters surrounded by bagmen.
They're business managers.
You know, and they get the best players and they roll them out there and it looks good and they can win and they can do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they don't have the respect of the people that are really in this game. I don't think that those guys really have the respect.
You know what those guys do now? Those guys get out of the coaching ranks and become talent agents. That's what they do.
No doubt. No doubt. And then they go to TV or some other places. Not really a fall-away position for some of these guys. Jay Wright could walk right back in this thing anywhere, anytime he wants and get any job he wants. So there's no real fallback for some of these guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see Wright or somebody like that who might have jumped out, Tony Bennett. You know, some of these guys might have jumped out. But just to see, you know, like, is it really have that finality to it? But, Pete, let's roll. I appreciate that time. We really got a chance to illuminate a lot there and jumped out with a good one. Power 15 right up now with the NBA Power 15. This is the power. But if you noticed, 2 weeks ago when we were putting up OKC Thunder, they were, 25-1.
Yep.
They've gotten hit a few times. And one of the reasons they've gotten hit, and what can happen is, I told you, there's no geniuses in this business. There's everybody mimicking what everybody else does. But the Spurs have beaten them a couple of times this year. Of that 5 losses, I think the Spurs have beaten them 3 times. And what the Spurs are doing, and it's really, really a good technique, is they're fouling everybody. SGA lives on the foul line. All he does is go in, try and pump, and do all this other stuff. And to be honest with you, Pete, he walks on almost every single possession, and they don't call it.
Right.
It's one of the reasons I draw back from calling him one of the great players in the game. He obviously is, but if you took away all the free throws and you took away all the other stuff that they let him get away with, I don't know. I really don't, But doing a great job with OKC Thunder, 29-5. Detroit Pistons. This is the surprise of the NBA, rocking the Eastern Conference right now, 25-9, and really, really doing well. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. You're 34 games in now. That's a good sample.
Yeah.
That's a good way to make an observation if this team's for real, and it appears that they are. San Antonio Spurs, 24-9. This has been without Wembanyama for a significant amount of time. This has been without Dylan Harper also for a significant amount of time. This team has held together pretty well because they've gotten the injury bug just about as bad as anybody else has. New York Knicks, 23-10. Mike Brown has shown that he's going to use the depth. It's something that Thibodeau didn't do, and it was one of the things that they kind of was a criticism of his coaching. Mike Brown's going to use the depth. That means you're going to see Tyler Kolek. You're going to see some of these guys off the bench on a regular basis, and it's going to keep the other guys fresh.
Fresh legs,
You
yeah.
saw what happened to Brunson last year. He looked like he was on his last leg.
Yep.
So pretty good move there. That's why they're in the 4 spot and in the number 2 spot in the Eastern Conference, and sitting, pretty much a game and a half right out of the Detroit Pistons rearview mirror. Denver Nuggets, this team, 23-10, doing well, but they've taken a couple of hits lately. They're going to have Joker out for a little while. That's going to slow them down tremendously. There's a lot of missed games right now due to the fact that their injury bug is absolutely sweeping the NBA. I don't know if it's real, not real, I don't know, but it is absolutely sweeping the NBA
I think
right
it's
now.
sweeping everywhere because everybody's been sick.
Yeah, a lot of sick, but this is injuries too.
Yeah.
You know what you're hearing more and more and more of? Calf. I swear it that these guys got to go back to wearing high tops again.
Yeah.
A lot of calf injuries. Houston Rockets, Pete, 21-10. Solid. They're in the West. They're doing a good job. That's a really, really tough assignment over there. You got OKC, you got Denver, you got the Spurs, and now the Nuggets, Rockets. That's a really good grouping over there in the West, and it's shaping up to be a really, really good season. All right, so we got the Rockets in there at 21-10. The Lakers 20-11, and they've been kind of hitting it like a stone lately. They've been falling. They kind of falling like that New Year's Eve ball. And a lot of people on social media are attributing that to LeBron James being back and him just having a terrible, terrible attitude about the game right now, if you ask me. I guess that's the best way I could describe it to you right now. Terrible
switched
attitude.
Off.
And,
he switched off.
Like everybody thought this Luka trade was going to be great. He don't play no defense. He doesn't guard anybody, folks. And so you got LeBron over there, you got Luka over there,
It's a 5-on-3.
Oh, it's terrible. And you got Austin Reeves, who will play defense, but he's not the most capable defender. You get some holes out there. I think this team's going to really struggle going down into the second half for 2 reasons. A, I don't think they're that good, and B, I think the West is really, really good. All right, the Celtics 20-12, they're rising. Jaylen Brown playing great basketball. Almost gave him the dog bone, except Kawhi came in and took it right out of his mouth. Minnesota Timberwolves 21-13. Solid, but they got some issues going on. They were absolutely getting the dog snot beat out of them the other day. They were down to the Atlanta Hawks by 28 points. Okay, the coach then clears the bench, takes out some of his starters. About 7 minutes left in the game. But you're down 29, fellas. Okay, and to be honest with you, when you get down 29, you didn't play real hard, did you?
Nope.
You didn't play very hard. And so why wouldn't the coach now kind of change that out and get some young guys in there that might fight a little harder and cut that lead down from 29 so it's not as embarrassing as it once was? Okay, Anthony Edwards took exception to getting taken out of the game, tosses the towel, and heads for the locker room. These guys are so out of control. It's one of the other pieces that this NBA thing is. They get so much money.
That's a 2-game suspension without pay.
And they're so pampered, and then just get up off the bench and walk out on your teammates. Those guys have been sitting there the whole season watching you. Those guys have been sitting there the whole season watching you down 29. And now you don't want to give them a shot? And you don't have the decency to stay on the bench and cheer for those guys?
I would have been 2-game suspension, no pay.
He lost me there. I'm with you. I'm with you. You got to start knocking some of these guys back off the line because these guys are way, way too entitled right now. It's one of the reasons people hate your league. All right, we're trying to help them, Pete. Phoenix Suns 19-14, not bad. It's all Booker over there right now. They missed Durant. They got some other pieces missing, but we'll see. Keep an eye on them. That team's going to have trouble keeping that distance, I think, between them and the bottom. Toronto Raptors, 20-15. Detroit Pistons, Toronto Raptors. There's your East Coast surprises of the year. They've kept this team together. R.J. Barrett, Ingram, Quickly, Scotty Barnes, my guy, really, really solid nucleus there. They've kept them together. They have Jacob Poeltl, who's a solid defender up front. Not a bad team. Especially since some of these other teams are in such flow. So much movement in and out. All right. Now you got the Orlando Magic 19-15. Wagner been out a little bit. That's going to hurt them, slow them down a little bit, but they got be more consistent. Miami Heat 19-15. Heat culture winning the day. Philadelphia 76ers 17-14. Hanging on, although they did drop. They were maybe in our 3 or 4 hole to start the season.
Yeah.
And the Cavaliers in the 15 spot, probably the most disappointing team in the NBA season thus far. Lots of time, lots of room. They can grow, but they have some injuries, but so does everybody else. This team's underachieving. Let's just call it. Keep an eye on their coaching staff because in the NBA, that usually doesn't fly. Here's some no power for you notables. Golden State Warriors, not in our 15, haven't been. Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, I don't know. Something got to give there. Memphis Grizzlies and the Hawks, nowhere to be found. Pete, let's slide. Let's glide. Let's head into the Super 25 College Edition. And this was fun this week. It's fun this week because everybody's starting to come around to In the Zone, baby. Arizona has been number 1 with us for 5 weeks now. They're 13-0. They haven't lost. We're not moving them. Michigan, number 2, 12-0. Really solid team. Yaxel Lendenberg, Elliot Cadeau. They've got some really, really good players on this team and a very, very good basketball coach in Dusty May. Iowa State, this is the number 1 surprise team of the whole Super 25. We knew they were going to be good. We knew they were solid. We didn't know if they would get some of those injuries back from Tameen Lipsey because he also got hurt in the beginning of the year. But this is a team that's loaded front to back, and they're holding on. I mean, this is 13-0. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. So really, really great job for the Cyclones. TJ Otzelberger in the last 4 years, I mean, he's elevated himself, his program, right into the top. And this is Iowa State, folks. Probably not the easiest program in the country to elevate. All right, let's go to the Dukies. Tough loss to Texas Tech, but I still like this team. They're loaded. They're loaded for bear. I think they got to play Caden Boozer a little bit more. He passes the ball real well, and when you have 2 twins, they have that kind of symbiotic relationship with themselves. I'd like to see them get out there a little bit more. All right, Pete, we got the Huskies. Everybody in the East Coast looking at Danny Hurley and the Huskies, how they're doing. They started off their league season well, and I really think that this team, they're probably better than St. John's right now. And I didn't have that at the beginning of the year, but I would call it right now. And they could absolutely hyperspace the Big East. We'll keep an eye on that. They're 13-1, and they have not lost since November. Keep an eye on that. And who did they lose to? Arizona, the number 1 team in the country. Mm-hmm. All right, Vanderbilt. No, this, I guess you call this one the other surprise, 13-0. We're buying Byington all year long. This guy's a very good basketball coach. We witnessed it at James Madison. He got the chance at Vanderbilt, and one of the things that was discussed in the interview at Vanderbilt was, I need a full bag. I got to have a full bag. And the people at Vanderbilt assured Coach Byington, you're going to be buying. You're going to be buying Byington. And he got a bag. He's got a big bag over there. And that program could really, really be something special with the right amount of money and the right amount of coaching. Purdue, 12-1. Solid, led by Braden Smith. You've got Trey Kaufman-Wren. You've got Oscar Clough. This team could really be good. You know, I watched them the other night. They got just some issues. They're out on the perimeter where they're a tiny bit slow, and athleticism has a tendency to bother them. Houston, 12-1. We're going to find out now, Pete. We're going to find out now. They're getting ready to load into their league. We'll see how good this team is. Top to bottom, I would say this is a Final Four team. Just haven't been tested yet. Right now is the first time they're going to play an away game.
Wow.
Right now, in January. Got to love it. Houston, BYU, 12-1. All right, this team's good. DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, the big kid inside Kaida, and they got a really, really solid point guard, Robert Hunter. You know, they're good. This team's very, very good. Again, let's see what happens when they get into that league because they are in a powerhouse league. Gonzaga, 14-1, Pete, after 15 games. The lone blemish was that blowout to Michigan. And as I told you before, that might have been their 10th, 11th game of the year. You watch what Mark Few gets out of that. He's 14-1 now. He's going to turn that thing around, and every single day in practice, he's reminding them about how bad they were against Michigan. That can be us the day we don't play hard. That can be us the day we don't bring that Gonzaga style. That can be us the day we step off of Mark Few's great coaching. That message was sent loud and clear to that team. Now I think they'll respond, and I think they'll jump back on it. Michigan State, 12-1, couple of good games coming up here, and they're one of them that's packaged up. They're going to be solid going out through the year. There's just a few things I don't like about this team. I got to be honest with you. They don't have the depth that everybody else has. I think Izzo's doing a great job with them, but as they get bumped up against some really good teams in the Big Ten on the road, I think this team might get exposed a little bit. North Carolina loving this. I love the Tar Heels, 13-1. If there was a place I could go right now and be an assistant coach, I'd probably pick North Carolina. Just love it. I think Hubert Davis is going to get himself a little bit of time here. They got a great freshman, Caleb Wilson, but also 7'3" Henry Visar, and some other really, really dynamic pieces there. Keep an eye on this team in the ACC. Nebraska, 13-0. The mayor, Hoiberg, he's rocking. He's rolling. They got this thing going. We're going to find out about them in the next 2 weeks. We're going to find out about them because they have been in Cupcake City for a little bit. They have been devouring those cannolis, Pete. Louisville, 11-2. They've gotten bounced twice. They beat Kentucky, and then they got bounced twice after this in a couple of games that they probably shouldn't have lost. Michael Brown is out right now with an injury. Obviously, that's impacting things, but this team can really shoot the ball. And I see them and Duke being that 1-2 punch all the way home in the ACC. Possibly North Carolina, possibly Virginia, although I don't think Virginia's ready just yet. All right, we got Iowa, 11-2. This guy just wins games. This coach just wins games. USC 12-1, really good. Not a great schedule, but here's one of the reasons I'm excited about them. They took one of the guys from Auburn, Chad Baker-Mazara, one of the best big men in the country last year. They have him playing really, really well for them. They've got some other good pieces, and they've got some guys that have been injured. They had the young Arenas gentleman with the car accident earlier in the year. He's coming back. Georgia 12-1. Dominique Wilkins' son is on this team. If you like highlight, you like dunks, watch this young man. He gets out in the open floor, got a lot of his old man in him. LSU 12-1. I keep telling people about this team. Everybody's like, they don't play this, and they're Torvik, and they're watch this team. They're good. They're loaded. They're talented, and they are really, really athletic, and they defend well. Arkansas 10-3. I'm going to hang on to them. I love Acuff. I love Malik Thomas, Trayvon Brazile. This team right now, honestly, they've had 3 losses, but this team could easily be a top 10 team. Easily. Go back and look at the losses. They're very credible. I think this team could hit its stride, but I just don't know if they got the right guy driving the bus. I'll leave it there. All right, Alabama 10-3. Too much reliance on the 3 ball for me. Something came out the other day with KenPom about who takes the longest 2-point shots, and it turned out to be Purdue. And for years, everybody's like, why would you take a long 2 when you could step back a few more feet and take a 3? That was the thinking. That's Alabama's thinking. It's not basketball thinking. That's logistics thinking. That's math thinking. It's not basketball thinking. Basketball is come down, run your stuff. The first good look you get, take it, no matter where it is. No matter where it is. All right, let's go. Kansas 10-3. I'm pumping them up because no team has really been skunked by NIL like they have with Darren Peterson. I don't know what's going on over there. He's played very, very sparingly, but my guy Melvin Council out of St. Bonaventure has really stepped up. You got Flory Badunga. They got some really, really good pieces there because they're Kansas. But is that enough for them to sustain where they're going? And if they don't get this thing righted, they're going to have people turn on self out there. You can be sure of that. Tennessee 10-3. This is a team that's been mercurial, up and down. The Ament, I've been watching him. One day I think he's in the lottery. The next day I'd say I wouldn't even maybe put him in the back of the first round. So it's one of those things. It's up and down, and he's young, so that's understandable. But this team, there's a lot of talent on that team. Colin Gillespie, this team I think should be in the top 10. But that loss to Syracuse and some other bumps that they've had, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's one of the pieces of you've coagulated and put together some really good pieces, but do they fit and do they work together? And have you had enough time on task with all of that happening? Virginia, 11-2. Nobody thought this would be happening, but it is, and they're solid backup, and they got the right guy leading the program as well. I like this Miami team, 12-2. Trey Donaldson, I was very critical of Jai Lucas getting the job, but I really, really think he's done a good job, and I think this team has been well put together. Indiana, I'm going to let them hang on at 10-3, although, you know, you go 10-0 and then boom, 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 you know, after you play some good comp, you get knocked around, so I don't know. Here's some upcoming stuff that I think everybody will like. Nebraska and Michigan State tonight. That's a good game. You got the undefeated Nebraska team going up Michigan State with one loss on a Friday night. You also have Louisville against Stanford tonight. Another good game. We'll see if Louisville can get geared up for a good, solid ACC road test. You've also got USC and Michigan tonight. And believe it or not, folks, that's a Big Ten game. All right, Saturday brings us a couple of more games that I think you might have interest in. I'll give them to you right now. Kentucky plays Alabama on Saturday. That's going to be a real good one. Auburn plays Georgia. We'll see if this Georgia team is for real. Purdue plays Wisconsin. The Big Ten kicks off. And Tennessee goes to Arkansas. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game. All right, we got a whole lot of NBA trade talk right now going on. The deadline's coming up. You got the deadline approaching rapidly, and I think it's February 5th at 3 p.m., something crazy like that, Eastern time. And so you have the deadline coming up. We just wanted to give you a couple of things here that we think you should keep an eye on. Number one, Giannis. Keep an eye on him. Does he stay? Then he wants Milwaukee to get involved in this trading deadline and pick up some guys. Now, the question to Giannis is, what do you think they're going to trade outside of you that has any value on that whole team? Who are you sending? Who are you going to put in there? Who's in your trade? You know, so that's what's making him hard to trade right now, or that's what's making it hard for the Bucks to trade to help him, like grab a Malik Monk or some other players out there that they might want, because they don't have nothing to give up except him. They got to give him up. If they want to move this franchise forward, they got to trade him somewhere. Trade him to somebody with playoff hopes that will give up a bundle for him, because Milwaukee, you need a bundle. All right, Michael Porter Jr. from the Nets. I don't get this, but this might be more of their chance to tank. He's their best player. He's been playing very, very well when he's been in the lineup, being hurt a little bit, but he's been their best player all year long. Now, what are you going to trade him for? What are you going to get in return? What do you think you need? You know, you just blew out 5 draft picks, you know, in his first round. You could have had Derek Queen.
Right.
You know, and you blew those picks, you know, for Agor Damin and a bunch of other guys that aren't doing well. Honestly, baseline. So what are you trading Michael Porter for? It's the only guy you have. Now, are you tanking? Then you trade Michael Porter. Jimmy Butler, keep an eye on him. Golden State. He's just an unhappy dude. You know, I don't know why. I don't understand it, but he's just a guy that rubs people the wrong way, I guess. I don't know if Curry and those guys, Draymond, they want to put up with that. You know, so keep an eye on Jimmy Butler. They could get something for him. Now, that you might be able to get something for. Anthony Davis, the injured reserve man. They're talking about trading him. For what? For who? Who wants him?
Who wants the liability?
Yeah. Who wants to uncover that? I don't think so. I don't think there's as much out there for him as you think. Now, if he's telling people, I'm feeling pretty healthy, he had a great game the other day, but is he going to be able to get into a lineup and be consistent? You know,
or do you pick him as a role player?
Well, that's a lot of money to spend on a role player when you got a salary cap. He's going to be a big, big money dude. He's 50, 60 million most likely, you know, 40, 50, 60 million. So I think with him, it has to be a absolute contender. Somebody who needs a player just like that, but it's got to be that right team. You know, can it be the Denver Nuggets? Maybe. You know, if he's going to be healthy. You know, can it be the Boston Celtics? You know, although they've kind of thinned out and really don't have much to offer back. You know, or is it some team that can unload a bunch of draft picks? I don't know. Keep an eye on that. LeBron. Pete, what's his value?
Right now?
Right now.
Not much on the court, I don't think. He has a value as a name recognition, but that's about it.
You might sell some jerseys if
Right,
you got
yeah,
them.
name recognition.
Yep. But honestly, what could you get for him?
Not much.
Who wants to open up their vault for a guy that has 1-2 years left at max? Two years. I don't know. Trae Young, the Hawks, again. Who wants him? What are you going to do to give up to get him?
Yeah.
Porzingis is much more valued over there, although he's constantly in and out of the lineup with injuries, illness, and all this other stuff too. All right. Wemby comes clean. Good news for the Spurs. They did an MRI on him. Shows that he did not have significant ligament damage in the knee. He's missed 12 games prior with a calf sprain. He's averaging 24 and 11, though. Anthony Edwards throws in the towel. We talked about that. No need to get into that too much. NBA Christmas viewership, Pete, said they hit a 15-year high.
Do you believe them?
I think because they had 5 games on.
Okay.
I think that's how they're doing it. We're just going to put more games on and claim it as a success. I'm not 100% sure, but no, I don't believe them. I really don't. I think right now statistics are dangerous.
Honestly, this time I'm surprised because they were up against football because it was a Thursday night.
Well, now you're seeing, like if you've been noticing.
It was a Thursday night. That's a normal football night.
Yeah. And if you've been noticing, college basketball has been shut down for like a few days during this whole kind of NFL playoff thing going on with the NCAA. That little thing they got rolling in there now, playoffs. Everybody's been shut down. NBA's been quiet, everything. Trade deadline, as we said, February 5th, 3 p.m. Eastern time. The Joker, that's what we talked about before. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks. James Najee, Pete, that's the young man we talked about. Baylor. He was taken in the NBA. He didn't play in an NBA game, but he was taken 31st, drafted.
But does that even mean anything anymore?
It doesn't. He's been granted 4 years of eligibility. He's been plying his trade with FC Barcelona for 5 years. Unbelievable. 2023, I don't know how he's been over there 5 years, but it's one of those things where you're definitely just shaking your head at this point. G League poachers, we've got 3 now. Thierry Darlin went to Santa Clara. Abdullah Ahmed goes to BYU, and London Johnson goes to Louisville. 3 G League guys already. Watch for that number to exponentially grow
that was
very quickly now. January, right now.
That was what we thought they were going to poach everybody from, the G League guys, but now they're poaching them from anywhere.
Any place.
Hey,
any place.
Hey, Grok, tell me who's got the best leagues in the Greek league.
And they're like this now. They're like a poor widow after Christmas, with like shekels left in the thing. What can I get for $200,000? What's out there and available in the $300,000 range? Because we're out of money. Okay, we got wiretap Willie Wade. Okay, NC State basketball coach. He wants everybody to shut up when talking about Darian Williams. Coach, I got news for you. Nobody's shutting up. Okay, come up with a better answer than that. All right, we watched you on the wiretaps when you were at LSU. Went to McNeese, took a little hacienda down at McNeese State for a couple of years. Now you're back. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows it's fraudulent. So again, maybe not the right spokesperson. Coaches just feeling that scrutiny of their big dollar decisions is what's happening, right? That's why he doesn't want nobody talking about Darian Williams, because the talk is, how much did we pay this guy? How's he doing? Is he doing great? Why is the team not winning if we gave this guy $3 million? That's the scrutiny now. Eat it, own it, it's yours. Okay, Charlie Baker, he came out strong, really strong. Just kidding. He said players with NBA contracts will not be eligible until somebody sues us, and then we'll reconsider.
Players with NBA, he means current NBA contracts.
Current NBA contracts.
Yeah.
That's what they're taking pros out of the pro league in Europe, but they won't do it in the American League until somebody sues them.
Unless, of course, you're on G League, which also means you technically have an NBA contract.
Technically, yeah. And somebody going to sue them, or do they even have to at this point? Just grab a guy. Take him, sign him, and see what Baker does. See what he does. He hasn't gone to court over any of this stuff. He sits there with his hands folded, collecting $3 million a year. It'd be nice if we could all do that. All right, update on the player of the year. Yaxel Lendenberg from Michigan is really up there. Not on our draft board, but he's going to look very, very strong for player of the year. A.J. DeBonsa from BYU, if they can keep rolling. Caleb Wilson from North Carolina. I love this young man, especially his NBA potential. Cam Boozer and Jacob Toppin. That's a solid 5 right there, Pete. I don't know who's going to win it. January is going to tell you a lot about that because they're all getting ready to head into their league season right now. Rookie of the year is kind of like a repeat. You go with DeBonsa, Cam Boozer. Kingston Flemings from Houston has really taken a leap forward into the spotlight. Caleb Wilson, and I'm going to throw Darius Acuff in there from Arkansas. He's having an unbelievable year. I don't think it's too early to talk about Coach of the Year right now. Coach of the Year right now, Dusty May from Michigan. John Shire from Duke, Mark Byington of Vanderbilt, T.J. Otzelberger from Iowa State. I like that 4. Pete, how much time do I got? We started a little bit late, right?
Yeah, about 5 minutes. Hey, I did an AI search.
Ooh.
Coming to the NBA. Here you go. Points per game in the European leagues. Nadir Heafy, he's averaging 20 points a game for ASV. I have no idea what league that's in.
Call him.
Timothy Luau Cabrero, Valencia, probably in Spain. He's averaging 19.7 points per game.
Get on the phone.
Kendrick Nunn, 19.2 points per game. Tyler Dorsey, 18 points per game. Carson Edwards, 17.7 points per game.
Pete, call Danny Hurley. You're ready to be an assistant coach. You did just what everybody else is doing right now.
That took me 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what everybody else is doing right now. Here's the other piece of it. Why do you need assistant coaches right now?
Just to deal with the bag.
I guess. Why do you need that, though? Like, what do they do now? They have all these guys. They were talking about some program, and they looked at the dollar amount that the assistant coaches and the head coaches spent on travel. And they go, why are they traveling? They're just buying players. Where are they going? Well, we got to go to this tournament and that tournament. You're in the portal. All you got to do is turn on your computer. So there's going to be a lot of scrutiny about that as well because every single dollar now is going to be scrutinized. How can we get more over into the NIL lane? How can we cut this and cut that? You've had schools cut significant portions of their athletic departments.
Yeah.
Gone. Just wiped them out. And now they put the money into NIL. All right, the rich are going to get richer, Pete. We know that, but this is getting crazy. Duke lands Deron Rippey, one of the best players in the 26 class. It now gives them the number 1 ranked class, all-time number 1. This is a rest in peace in the zone moment. Good guy, Jerry Welch, longtime coach at Division III Potsdam State. Amassed a numbers of wins there, and then went on and became a Division I coach later on in his life at Iona. Passed away just recently. He was a good guy, really solid basketball coach, but a really, really, just a good man. 494 and 141 at Potsdam. 494 and 141. That's pretty good. Okay, we've hit rock bottom when Calipari's complaining that we don't have rules. All right, we have Captain Pete. Do you remember Captain Renault of Casablanca? He was the inspector, and he's, oh my God, do we have gambling? There's gambling in this casino. Oh my God. That's who's running the NCAA gambling site right now. Inspector Clouseau. 14 major violations of players and staff impermissibly gambling. 14 now. It's much higher than that. Drip, drip, drip. Jonte Porter, drip. Rozier, drip. Chauncey Billups, drip. Temple playing hardball, Pete. And this is not just Temple, but I'm going to run them up the flagpole right here. NC State, a bunch of others. These NIL contracts they have these young men under are unbelievable. Listen to this headlock. Enter the portal before the NIL deal expires, and they owe 100% of all the remaining payments. Now think about that. If they enter the portal before they get the money paid, they got to pay that money. Not pay the money back we gave you, but pay the money that we were supposed to pay you. You're going to pay us for that.
So the guaranteed contracts?
I no clue. They're calling it liquidated damages. They also have NDAs. I don't think they should be signing non-disclosure agreements with these young men. Honestly, not. But again, it's predatory. It's absolutely predatory. All right, we got some pipelines to the NCAA, Pete. There's absolutely no way I'm going to make it through that. All right, but I will save that for next week, and that'll start me off with a really good start for next week.
All right.
Here's something, Pete, I want you to be alert to. The portal potty opens today, 1/2/26. It is open till 1/16/26 for football only. Now, you got all these teams still playing. All these teams still in the bowl games.
Yep.
Now you're going to have to go, and we're going to say, all right, who's leaving? Who's staying? Who's with us? Who's not? Got the coach going from Miami going, could everybody just stay until after we're done? Please. April 7th to the 21st for the NCAA. They have shortened that window a little bit. But again, so what? Somebody going to transfer later than that after the portal closes? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do, Baker? You're not going to do anything. All right. The conferences, two conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, received 2/3 of all the college football bids that they have right now. Received 2/3 of the top 25 seeds in the NCAA tournament, Big Ten and SEC. The SEC with a ridiculous 14 bids last year. 14 out of 18 teams. Teams with losing record in the league. They wound up getting them into the NCAA tournament. That's where it all, now we've arrived. We're here now. We're here because this is what the intention was all along. Put Cinderella in the dungeon, squeeze out all the mid-majors, take all their players anytime we want and put them up into a different contract structure, and we will run this thing from here on out. The bottom line is, again, this was the answer to Calipari losing to St. Peter's, Calipari losing to Oakland, Virginia losing to Maryland, Baltimore County, Purdue losing to FDU. They didn't want it anymore. The thing that excited the people the most, these guys didn't want. They wiped it off the face of the earth because they didn't want it. The thing you wanted the most. Let me give you a couple of other things. Did anybody ask for non-autonomous driving vehicles?
No.
They have another one in California. They have nobody's driving the car.
San Francisco, yeah.
Who asked for that? Did you ask for NIL? Did you ask for the portal? Did you ask for all of this mayhem? You didn't. What are you going to do about it? That's a better question. Pete, we'll have lots to jump off with next week. In the zone, baby. Happy New Year to all of our viewers, all of our listeners. We love you. 2026, may it bring you all the blessings in the world. Pete, we're in the zone.